Hey everybody, it's Alexis McGill Johnson here from Planned Parenthood. I am here at a screening for Heightened Scrutiny, an incredible documentary that was directed by Sam Feder about a case on gender-affirming care that was brought before the Supreme Court, a case we know as Scrumetti, around banning access to hormones for minors and gender-affirming care. It's argued by the incredible Chase Strangio from the ACLU. And look, Planned Parenthood stands for everybody being able to decide and determine who they are, right? And to have the right medical access to help ensure that they can live the lives that they want to live. And so we stand here as a proud provider of gender-affirming care, as a proud provider of all things reproductive freedom, and to be here to ensure that people understand the direct relationship between bodily autonomy and self-determination. It doesn't end at access to contraception. It doesn't end at access to abortion. It doesn't end even at access to gender-affirming care, because all of our freedoms are united and linked. And we have to continue to ensure that we show up not only for the care that we can provide, but also for the fight that we need to do to determine that everybody gets to make the choice as to who they are. Thank you so much for this incredible art. We're excited to be in this collaboration with you. Can you tell us what we're here to do and why we are having this conversation?
Well, thank you. I'm so honored to have this collaboration with you and everyone at Planned Parenthood. We wanted to do this to really connect the dots between reproductive rights and trans rights, right? They all are about attacks on our bodily autonomy. And the more, if we want to save ourselves, we have to support and protect each other. So that's why we're here tonight.
I love it because our movements are so linked, right? Fundamentally, if we cannot control who we are, and defy every government attempt to try to determine who we are and to fight for our bodily autonomy, and if we cannot ensure that the care that is required for us to live our full and free lives, that we have access to it, then we're not able to actually access a right that we should have, right? And so it's so important to be here to watch this incredible documentary, Heightened Scrutiny. How does it feel that this is now kind of out in the universe?
It feels wonderful to have a tool, going into last year, coming into January, I really wanted to be able to have a tool because I think we all know it was coming. And it feels very meaningful to have something to be able to give to others to use to advance their goals.
Yes, absolutely. Well, one of the things that you touched upon, like really clearly in the documentary, one of the things we also fight a lot in our collective reproductive rights fight is just how active the disinformation is. Like across the board, tell me about some of the things that you found surprising or crazy, and like how did this happen? That you also explore in the film that could help people kind of start to connect the dots between things that they're hearing, and then how it shows up in policy.
Yeah, I think I was very shook when I started to understand that the anti-trans legislation was being passed largely due to these articles that were full of misinformation. And I just got really intent on showing people, connecting those dots for people. So that's what led to making the film. And I hope through storytelling and connecting with Chase and connecting with Mila and the other people in the film that you're having a visceral experience, and you're also learning in a concise way the direct path between the mainstream media representation and press and these anti-trans laws.
Yeah. And it's like, what's powerful is like connecting the actual data, because, as communities, we are constantly fighting for the real data, right? And the rigor in the science so that we are not actually being, being fed that misinformation, but also connecting that to the real individual lives and stories and the impact of what people's happening. Mila is such an incredible character, and not character, like life in the film. How did you get to know Mila?
She's so amazing, that young woman. I got to know her. You might remember the scene in the film where you meet her, where she's at the school board. That's when I first met her.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and what happened was earlier that day, I had been going to these meetings for a couple months, and even my friends were like, this isn't happening in New York. They didn't believe me, so I was like, it has to be documented. I have to go with the camera and show up, and without knowing that it was going to be in the film. And I approach the parents and kids who are making their posters on the ground, and then suddenly this child comes through the crowd, and she just lets me know that I have her permission to film her. So that's how I met Mila. And then, as we moved along and started to realize that I really needed to include a young person's voice in this conversation, but I really struggled with how to do that ethically. But then Mila already had a relationship with Chase, and their families knew each other, and so Mila's mom was supportive of it. Mila was dying to be in the film, and so that's how it came together.
This is powering a generation, right? It's powering a movement, and so we're so proud that we can connect all of these things together, because that's the kind of power that is going to really fire us all up.
You just gave me the chills.
I know, I'm so excited. Thank you, Sam. Yay! Go see Heightened Scrutiny, please. You must.